Hi guys, good afternoon. I have a brief opening statement and then we'll get to questions. On Tuesday, it was reported that Wikileaks has asked the Department of Defense for help in reviewing approximately 15,000 classified documents that WikiLeaks obtained in an unauthorized and inappropriate manner before WikiLeaks releases those classified documents to the public. WikiLeaks has made no such request directly to the Department of Defense. These documents are the property of the U.S. government and contain classified and sensitive information. The Defense Department demands that WikiLeaks return immediately to the U.S. government all versions of documents obtained directly or indirectly from the Department of Defense databases or records. WikiLeaks' public disclosure last week of a large number of our documents has already threatened the safety of our troops, our allies, and Afghan citizens who are working with us to help bring about peace and stability in that part of the world. Public disclosure of additional Defense Department classified information can only make the damage worse. The only acceptable course is for WikiLeaks to take steps immediately to return all versions of all of these documents to the U.S. government and permanently delete them from its website, computers, and records. A final note. WikiLeaks' webpage constitutes a brazen solicitation to U.S. government officials, including our military, to break the law. WikiLeaks' public assertion that submitting confidential material to WikiLeaks is safe, easy, and protected by law is materially false and misleading. The Department of Defense, therefore, also demands that WikiLeaks discontinue any solicitation of this type. Anne.
2 things on that. Do you have any mechanism or authority to compel WikiLeaks to do as you say, as you are demanding? And do you now consider Private Manning the prime suspect in the WikiLeaks leak?
To the second part first, I think we have described Private Manning, who is charged with leaking other classified information to this same organization, as a person of interest. I know of no update to his status since our initial description of him as such. With regards to the first part of your question, which gets to beyond our demands, how do we intend to compel? What I would say there, Anne, is that at this point we are making a demand of them. We are asking them to do the right thing. This is the appropriate course of action given the damage that has already been done, and we hope they will honor our demands and comply with our demands. We will cross the next bridge when we come to it, if it requires them compelling to do anything. If doing the right thing is not good enough for them, then we will figure out what other alternatives we have to compel them to do the right thing. Let me leave it at that. Daphne.
As a follow-up, could it involve legal action as the next step?
Well, I don't want to speculate as to what it could involve. Obviously, this is a matter that has gotten the attention not just of this department, but of the entire United States government. As we've talked about before, the Secretary of Defense brought the FBI into this investigation very early on. The Department of Justice is also involved in this matter. So those are two entities which have the authority, the wherewithal, should they choose to approach this through the legal system. That is not what I am announcing here. What I am announcing here is a request, a demand of WikiLeaks, the organization, to do the right thing and to not further exacerbate the damage that has been done by them to date, and return to us all the information that was illegally passed to them, and to expunge it from their website and all their records. Yeah, Craig.
Has DOD analyzed these 15,000 outstanding records and come to a conclusion of how harmful it might be for them to be released?
Well, obviously, these 15,000 documents, which they claim to be withholding as part of a harm minimization exercise, are not in our possession. Or we don't know for sure which 1,500 documents they are referring to. We have some ideas and are doing some proactive work, some prophylactic work in the event that the documents we suspect they could be are indeed the documents that they are threatening to post. But that's where I'll leave it now. Yeah, Tom.
Has there been any further discussion or even decisions on changing or tightening security rules in the field? The Secretary has acknowledged it's important to have access to this information at the unit level, but clearly there are challenges and risks as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he addressed this last week, Tom, when he was asked about it when this first broke. I think fundamentally, as he said to you a few weeks ago, even before this most recent disclosure, he fundamentally still believes that one of the things that makes our military the envy of the world is that we instill an incredible degree of trust and responsibility in our most junior officers and our most junior enlisted, so that this organization is not top-heavy, it's effective from top to bottom. And I think as troubling as this episode is, and again, we don't know who is responsible for leaking this information, as troubling as it is, I think he does not want to do anything to jeopardize the fundamental goodness of this trusting relationship that has existed for decades in the United States military. That said, this is a problem. The fact that information like this gets out into the public domain is a serious breach. And we are taking measures internally to reinforce existing rules and guidelines and to make sure that people are aware of those rules and guidelines and are being even more vigilant about enforcing the existing rules and guidelines. Yeah, Jeff.
You have called on Wikileaks to do the right thing. By your standards, they haven't done the right thing so far. What makes you think they'll suddenly have a change of heart?
I don't know that we're very confident they'll have a change of heart. They've shown no indication thus far that they appreciate the gravity, the seriousness of the situation they have caused. The lives they have endangered, the operations they have potentially undermined, the innocent people who have potentially been put in harm's way as a result. So I don't know that we have a high degree of confidence that this request, this demand unto itself will prevail upon them. We certainly are hopeful of that being the case, but you know, I don't know what to expect of this organization. We've heard so many different things from so many different people purporting to represent them. I don't know what's the truth. You know, they claimed initially to have, you know, reviewed these documents. Then we learn afterwards they've only looked at 2,000 of them, so they don't really know what's in all of them. They claim to have reached out to the United States government to assist in harm, for assistance in harm minimization, and then we find out no, it was through their partner, the New York Times. I don't know the New York Times would describe themselves as their partner. There have been a lot of contradictory and conflicting statements along the way, which certainly cause us to question their motivation, their intent, their credibility. This is an opportunity, it seems to me, for them to turn a new page, to recognize the situation that they have created and to try to rectify it. If indeed these claims that they have made through these third parties, these spokesmen, communicated to us through the news media are serious, if they are serious about engaging with us, they should reach out to us directly. We will consider how to proceed once something like that happens. The easiest way, however, to solve this, I mean, we're not looking to have a conversation about harm minimization. We're looking to have a conversation about how to get these perilous documents off the website as soon as possible, return them to their rightful owners, and expunge them from their records. That will help minimize harm that has already been created. Barbara.
Can I just Make sure about something you just said, and it's a technical cyber question, I guess. You said return to their rightful owners. So
these documents belong to the United States government. They don't belong to WikiLeaks. They don't belong to anyone else.
Okay, my question.
Please.
Right. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I understood.
Please.
I understand. Are they copies on the internet, or are these documents missing from U.S. military possession?
Nothing is missing, as far as we can tell. But they do not belong to anyone but us. We want whatever they have returned to us, and we want whatever copies they have expunged, erased, gone.
Some people.
Tony, you're shaking your head. I've caused some consternation to you.
What about asking the New York Times and the other papers to return them also?
I don't know that the New York Times or the other publications are in possession of the documents. I think
Jeff.
they were allowed to review the documents, is my understanding, Tony. I do not believe that they are currently in possession of those documents. David.
You said they should reach out to us directly. Your original statement sounded like an unqualified no.
Well, we're not looking to have a conversation, David, as I said before, about can we help you redact them? That's not the conversation we are prepared to have. But if they want to have a conversation about how they return the documents to us, we're happy to have that conversation.
If you have no confidence that they're going to, as you say, do the right thing.
I said I don't know that I have a whole lot of confidence.
Well, why don't you just go ahead with whatever legal remedies you have to compel, rather than make this appeal?
Well, I think that this is the appropriate first step. We'll see if it requires further steps.
Is it a first step or a bluff? Do you really have legal remedies?
Well, this is the Department of Defense. I mean, we're not one who makes judgments about legal remedies and the appropriate recourse and all that kind of stuff. But as I mentioned before, we're not alone in this endeavor. The FBI, the DOJ are also investigating this, are also involved in this matter, and they will obviously have to make judgments about how to proceed. But this is our first step to try to compel them, to prevail upon them to do the right thing and return the documents and erase them from their website so that no more additional harm is done, so that this potential database for all of our enemies that now hangs on the internet and provides an opportunity for them to mine, looking for weaknesses in force protection, tactics, techniques, and procedures, who we do business with, how we cultivate sources. All this stuff is potentially out there for people who wish to do us harm to take advantage of. And so we're trying to prevail upon them to do the right thing here. Barbara, yes?
Number one, a couple of questions. It's been out there for some period of days, if not weeks. Is it too late? No disrespect, why didn't the department do this before? What is this? That's number one. Number two, what is the status of you knowing exactly what's out there? Because we've heard that you're still going through all of it and you don't know. And number three, are you now, for the first time, basically negotiating with cyber criminals?
I don't think we're negotiating with anybody. I think we've made very clear and explicit demands. There wasn't any offer of anything in exchange. We are asking them to do the right thing. We are asking them to return stolen property and to no longer publish stolen property. That's what we're asking. The first question was, why not sooner?
Is it too late? I mean,
well, I don't know if it's too late. I mean, it's never too late. I mean, there is always, if we can get this off the internet, if we can compel them to return it, that is a good thing. The longer it hangs out there, the more potential damage it does. So that's why we're taking the step we're taking.
Why didn't you take this step days ago?
I think there has been consideration being given internal to this building about how to proceed. There has now come to some resolution about taking this next step. This is the decided upon course of action.
And my third question, very quickly, is you...
Is she entitled to a third, Ann?
It's your call.
Go ahead.
What is the status? What do you now know about what they have? Do you know what they have? Because until now, the department has said that the task force is looking at it and reviewing at it. As we sit here today, do you know what WikiLeaks has in totality?
Well, I think I've addressed